What's good, everybody? It's Sunday evening. We are just days away from this Cotton Bowl matchup, y'all. I can't even explain to you how excited I am about this game as we get closer. The Buckeyes flew out. They should be in the air right now or about to land pretty soon down in Dallas. Super excited. And we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. Before we do anything, please hit that like button. Like. And also, if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Also, hit that bell. You'll get notifications whenever we go live. And then don't forget, I know some folk, you can't get on YouTube. Go to Apple Podcast. We're also on Spotify. We're everywhere. But if you guys use Apple Podcasts, please subscribe to that as well. Greatly appreciate it. We're going to talk about these Miami fans and this matchup. These Miami fans, man, I'm telling you, they have been just in full crash out, just extra stupid mode. And it's just been crazy. So we're going to talk about that as well. Also, remember when you send those wonderful super chats, helps to go towards the Pay It Forward, which is our military and our first responders. We're going to look out for them because they always, without a doubt, look out for us. Dev, Nevada, the illustrious panel. What's up, fellas? How y'all feeling? Let's start with Nevada Buckster. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good, excited, getting ready. I guess it's 48 hours till I begin my trek to Dallas, and I'm excited about the game, excited about seeing everybody, and just can't wait. It's gonna be a fun week all the way around.
Yeah, Dev, are you 48 hours out as well? From
I fly out. I fly out Tuesday morning, like early Tuesday morning. So
Okay.
a little less than that. So tomorrow I drop my dog off to get boarded while I'm gone. So it's gonna feel like, but I'm pumped. I've been waiting on this for quite some time. Got me some Texas Live tickets earlier. I've actually had them. I didn't realize it. So gonna make a trip out of it, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for y'all. I know I was not able to come. As we get closer, I'm just like, dang, I wish I could go. I wish I was there because the excitement and just being in Dallas and just everything, all the scarlet and gray that's going to just dominate that stadium. Ah, man, it'd be so dope. But I'm excited for y'all for sure. And so, yeah, man, we're getting closer. Definitely want to talk about this matchup, but I want to first kick this off and just start this off with these Miami fans. Let's just get right into it. And as I pull this up, let me, before I pull anything up, Dev, I want to get a little bit of your thoughts on dealing with these Miami fans and where would you put them at as far as other fan bases and what you've experienced with them leading up to this matchup before I pull this up?
Well, I mean, it's like a combination right now. It's a combination of you have a bunch of national media people also, right, pushing certain narratives that these fans are buying into. And there's way less of them, but they go like way deeper into their, I'm just going to call it nonsense. And they actually believe it. You can tell that they are fully bought into it. You know what I mean? And I blame some of the national media, but I've also haven't been like on social media that much here lately. But I tell you what, I was golfing this morning with a Miami fan, and I told him to shut up multiple times. Like, hey, dude, I just can't handle it anymore. Like, let's just golf. Like, you got to be quiet, bro. So it's bad.
Yeah, man, Nevada, I want you to respond to this when you get a second. But so this is one of many. Okay, this is just one that has kind of just stuck out of many posts like this, calling JJ Smith out, calling him a traitor. He's a sellout. And here's Malachi Tony, their hero. Malachi Tony's a good player. This is nothing against this kid. He's good. So kudos to Malachi Tony. It says Malachi Tony stayed home and put on for his city. Jeremiah Smith sold his city out and put on for Ohio. So there's just one for you. Nevada, and I got more. I'm gonna show y'all something else as well. But This is a narrative that I'm seeing being pushed out by not just fans, but by their media as well. And so, Nevada, what's your thoughts on this? No, there you go.
Didn't they spell Malachi Tony's last name wrong on that little
Yes,
thing?
they forgot the E. I noticed that too.
so it's kind of like, wait a
Beautiful.
second. So from the very beginning, it just, I think that kind of sums up the whole Miami family. Look, this game, there's a lot of issues that go when if we're talking about Miami fans. I think there's a bigger topic and a bigger story here that I want to get into for a little bit, which is, first of all, Miami's got the worst traveling fan base in the world. Okay, like if we're looking for a fan base
Yeah.
that we can dominate on a crowd thing, I'm just telling you, for people that are coming to the game, get ready for there to be about 12 Miami fans there, and the rest of the thing being Ohio State fans, because they do not travel at all. But I think it's kind of brought up this bigger issue. This game's not going to sell out. This is a bowl game, the Cotton Bowl with Ohio State in it, that is not going to sell out. And I think that's a big issue. I think it's a big issue for the college football playoff to have to look at. This is year 2 of the playoff, and you've already got, quarterfinal games not selling out. Tickets, you're trading at about 25% of face value to get into the game. And
Wild.
that it's just terrible. And, the simple solution is forget the bowl system. Let let the higher seed play the games at home. Because can you imagine how exciting this game would be if this game was in the stadium on New
Yeah.
Year's Eve? We talked about the Tennessee game, how that was one of the top games we've ever been to. How exciting this game would be. I just think it's crazy that they keep bending the knee to a bowl system that's really kind of irrelevant right now in the day of this expanded playoff. And when you get it, where you've got a bad fan base like Miami's, it's going to really hurt the environment, and it's going to hurt the entertainment value of the thing. And I just think that's a huge story being played out. We're all going to see it. All of us that are there, and anybody watching on TV is going to see it. But yeah, it's a really a fan base that only is there when Miami's at the absolute pinnacle of the college football world. The definition of bandwagon fans. I don't even take them seriously because I think it's all, everything's just kind of memey with them. But yeah, when I saw their thing of celebrating Malachi Tony and they don't even spell his name right, then it's just hard. It's hard to take the whole thing particularly seriously. But I know the game's personal for JJ and for all the kids from South Florida. And I love the fact that they're making it even extra spicy, because I think a motivated JJ, a spicy JJ, is going to be bad news for Miami on Wednesday night, and I'm willing to bet that happens.
Yeah, I agree. Great point about their fan base. They do have their fan base is as bandwagon as you can get if you're not from South Florida. I mean, let's just be honest. Most of their fans that aren't from South Florida are just bandwagon fans from when they were good, and they just decided to stick around. I guess you ain't whatever. But here's another one, Nevada. That you talking about JJ, the spiciness. Malachi didn't take the easy route, and he's already a Miami legend. Dude on the pick, referring to Jeremiah Smith, is just another guy who ran from the grind. Like, this is the type of stuff I know if JJ saw this, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And Dev, I want to ask you, because I know I can say a lot about this, but you can make a strong argument that staying in Miami would be arguably the definition of running from the grind. Like, if you're really going to use that type of verbiage, like coming to Ohio State, where you got 5-star receivers galore, and you got to come in and to do what he did, it just takes like this from their fans. I just think it's ridiculous. Dev, what you got on this, bro?
I do want to say this real fast. Most of my aggravation comes from the bandwagon Miami fans. I do know two real lifelong Miami fans, and I've been able to have actual conversations with them about this game that actually makes sense going forward. So it's mainly the bandwagon guys. But this take with the whole JJ thing and Malachi and all that, you're talking about a Miami team that has had one first-round draft pick and Jalen and Waddle, right, in the past how many years? in Ohio State, what are we at? 6 or 7 first-round draft picks in the past 10 years.
Right.
And also, I wonder why Malachi went to Miami. It's almost like you guys gave him the biggest nil offer out of any other school. I don't know. Maybe. But JJ turned down the bigger offer from you guys to come. So it's almost such a ludicrous thing that it's not even worth the time and effort to argue. There's so many points to point that is just not a smart thing to say. You see what I'm saying? The evidence is piled so much against that statement. And it's like, wow, should I really waste my time diving in? Because there is a list of things that will prove that, right? That statement right there is just absolutely ludicrous, because you hit the nail on the head. Coming to Ohio State is the opposite of taking the easy way out. I mean, why do you think Miami hasn't been relevant? Because that's the easy way out, right? That's why they haven't been relevant. It's easy. You take the money there and you're set, right? You ride around Miami at night. I've been to Miami. I know what Miami's like. That's the easy way out, I promise. You think going to Columbus, Ohio, and the snow and all that stuff is the easy way out? There's just a really long list of why that is a ludicrous statement to say. And anybody in their right mind, even Miami fans that have any knowledge about college football and are realistic with themselves, probably are disgusted in that statement. They should be, at least.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I'll say this. Listen, I get it from a certain standpoint. You have a local fans of a team. We don't like when our guys leave Ohio. Like, I understand from that standpoint, you want to see all your good guys stay home. So I get it. Like, from that standpoint, Miami fans want Miami kids to stay home. But it's a difference between, I think, and hear me out, because we have been an elite program for a very long time. So when we have kids leave, it's a little more like, dang, like, you leaving this elite program here. Like, it's not just you staying at home just because it's home, but we're Ohio State. Like, we've been consistently elite, competing for national championships, putting guys in NFL galore. Miami has not been doing that. So it's like, I can understand you wanting your guys to stay home, but he clearly went to a better program. And any other Miami kid over the years has went to a better program in most cases, who turned down Miami in most cases. So it's just like, I get it. I'm not going to act like I don't understand the local aspect, but let's just be real. Like, can we just be honest? But you're right, Dev. I mean, there's so many arguments against this take, but it's so ludicrous, and it's starting to really, really stack up on the internet, these arguments and these shots at JJ. I just definitely wanted to bring it out and push it to the forefront as we get closer, because like Nevada said, it's funny and, ridiculous to entertain, as far as just kind of just showing the stupidity. But I also love that it's spicy for JJ. Like Nevada said, we love spicy JJ. The same JJ that called his shot months before the Michigan game and said, we're not going to lose to them. And so, like, it's just, to me, there's a good track record of showing that Jeremiah Smith, when you poke the bear, especially when fully healthy, oh, yeah. So that's the part I really love about all of this foolishness. It's annoying and stupid, but it's also like, oh, he hears the noise from back home. And so he's going to be extra motivated to really put on for his city in a Buckeye uniform. Nevada, what you got?
Well, yeah, I just think, look, what's this whole saying, you don't pull on Superman's cape, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think, or tug on Superman's cape, it's I know it's just random guys on the internet, and I know it's just, the internet is where the stupidest people in the world go to post their whatever their thoughts that just jump in their head. But with JJ, you're right, it's become kind of a mantra from the Miami people, and I think it's just, I really believe it's a tactical mistake, because JJ is kind of he's a quiet kid.
Yeah.
Kind of goes about, does his business, doesn't do a lot of talking. But man, when he's challenged, when people want to go at him like that, I think you bring him to a different level becomes personal to him. And I really think Miami's making a mistake in
Yep.
terms of doing that. I mean, I don't know what they hope to accomplish by doing it, but I mean, even if it motivated him 1% more, I certainly wouldn't want to see JJ at 101% instead of 100. But I think that's where this stuff is taken it. And it's funny because when kids in Ohio go elsewhere, I don't care. I mean, I'm like, I think the best kids in Ohio should play in Ohio one, but I think that when a kid wants to get out of the state and wants to go do something, I always figure it's not the right fit. And I'd say the same thing for kids from South Florida. A lot of kids in South Florida want to get out of the muck. They want to get out, they want to go somewhere else. And as you said, we've had such a great track record in terms of doing it. But
Yeah.
this thing with JJ has become personal. I know he's taken it personally, and I really think we're going to see the best edition of JJ Smith on Wednesday night. And I don't want to jump ahead, but I've said it before. I don't think this game needs to be close. I don't think this game is going to be close, and I think a big part of that reason is going to be JJ Smith.
And real quick, and we'll start. Go ahead.
I was going to say just a real quick note on that. Chaz Coleman, Justin Hill, right? I know there's a couple fans on message boards. I'm not even sure if they're Ohio State fans that badmouth him, but am I upset they don't play for the Buckeyes? Yeah. Am I going to make a graphic calling him a traitor? No, I'm not.
Right, exactly.
Wild.
Yeah. No, I agree. And well said, Nevada. It's like kids leave Ohio all the time, and in most cases, I'm talking about vastly most, Nevada, they don't come back to hurt us. It's not like it's just the case. Like, we're good. But with that said, and before we slide into to the game, because I got a lot to say, we got a lot to say about this game. You talk about JJ Smith hearing the noise. When a Miami legend like Luther Campbell from the 2 Live crew calls you out and say they're going to shut you down, oh, he hears that. He hears that. Now, some of y'all don't know who Luke is, and that's fine. We had a funny little exchange about that the other day. But Luke is a Miami legend. All right. And he is on YouTube talking about we shutting JJ Smith down. You got all this chirping from the hometown. I mean, you got to just think JJ Smith is just, oh my God. And look, we said the other day that Ryan Day has a track record of feeding his kids situationally when it comes to like Carnell Tate going back to Chicago versus Northwestern, had his best game up until that point. Max Clare, he got a ton of balls, thrown at him against Purdue. And there's other examples, but the point is, he's going to force feed Jeremiah Smith in a good way. And I cannot wait. I cannot freaking wait. Anything on that before we kind of dive in to the matchup itself, fellas?
No, I totally agree. I think that Ryan knows the moment. He knows the moment. He's aware of the disrespect of JJ and the Blitnikoff. He's aware of what happened to Julian Sain at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He's aware of what happened in the Big Ten championship game. And this is what this game's not in Miami, but it's very personal. For all the kids from Florida, it's definitely a personal game, but none more so than JJ. And Ryan Day's aware of that, and I think that'll be reflected in the game plan.
Yep, agreed. Dev, anything? Because I'm about to pass you to Mike as we slide to a transition. But did you have anything else on this?
No, I mean, I agree with y'all. They made a mistake, and they're still making mistakes, putting out all this stuff about JJ. Because let me remind you guys, JJ has friends on the team as well that take this stuff personally from the same area. Kenyatta Jackson Jr., Brandon Ennis. I mean, please keep it up. I want to encourage you, Miami fans. I love what you're doing. You're doing phenomenal. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep it up.
Yep. And as we transition, a great segue. Not only do you have the JJ Smith, the poking the JJ Smith bear, you have all these takes about Miami being better in the trenches than Ohio State. And there's a recent track record of that being a no-no as well. Dev, I got some things to say. I got some notes, but Dev, I want you to dive in to what we were talking about backstage about Miami's, specifically their defensive line, and the production versus Ohio State's. And, because really your boy, I always forget his name, David Pollock. He came out and said he believes Miami is better on both lines than Ohio State. And I've seen a lot of Miami fans and Miami podcasters take that and run and just do content off of it. And so, what's your thoughts on that? And what's your comparisons as you've been researching this matchup?
Yeah, man. I mean, in the beginning, after the Texas A&M game, you heard kind of the rumblings of the Miami defensive line, and then it kind of kept going, man. And I even heard a video from Josh Pate talking about how good this Miami defensive line is. And the first thing that comes to my mind is, well, where the heck's this been all year? All year, where has this elite defensive line play been, especially when you're comparing it to Ohio State's defensive line, saying they are dominant? And it's like, in what way? What are we talking about here? You're talking about, first off, strength of schedule. You got Big Ten, you got ACC. Let's all remember that, right? And you can look at ESPN, EPI, whatever you call that thing, the strength of schedule. They'll be a little bit closer, but I found one that, right, it has Ohio State strength of schedule ranked 18th. Miami's ranked 41st. Their schedule was weak. Ohio State's defensive line this year set a program record at Ohio State for 10 consecutive games holding teams under 100 rushing yards in the Big Ten. In the Big Ten, there are only 2 games. Michigan had exactly 100 rushing yards, right? Texas had 166 rushing yards, the number 1 team in the nation preseason, right? Pretty good team. 166 rushing yards. We still run that game. You go to the Miami side, Virginia Tech had 194 yards rushing against them. Syracuse, 161 yards rushing. Louisville, 119. FSU, 132. So, I mean, there are so many things to talk about in this defensive line. And what I'm not arguing is whether Miami's defensive line is good or not. They are good. What I'm saying is it's good. This has gotten out of hand, right? The talk about Miami's defensive line, you guys have blown this thing way out of proportion, right? In my opinion, especially when you're comparing it to the best defensive line in college football in the Ohio State Buckeyes, right? When you look at how these teams rank statistically for teams like rushing defense, we're number 6, they're number 7. I just told you strength of schedule, and I just told you one's playing in the Big Ten and the other one's playing the ACC, right? Red zone defense, we're number 1, they're number 69. Okay, so again, don't take this the wrong way. Good defensive line, but I am a firm believer this has got blown completely out of proportion. Caden Curry's got 11 sacks on the year. Nobody's talking about him like they are Bain, who now has 10 after the Texas A&M game. He has 10. Caden Curry still with more than him. Very good defensive line. But what you can't do in the same breath is say, hey, right, if this Miami defensive line shows up, they're really, really good, right? They're better than Ohio State's, but they're inconsistent. Well, the fact that they're that inconsistent, I just told you the stats, giving up 194 rushing yards to Virginia Tech and so on and so forth. If you're that inconsistent, that takes you out of the ballpark of an Ohio State defensive line who set a program record this year of 10 consecutive games under 100 rushing yards. Consistency is part of the game. You can't just pick the best game. It's not a one-game season. The NFL doesn't look at one game film from a defensive lineman and say, hey, oh, yeah, these guys are great. And that's what is going on now. Everybody is so focused on this A&M Miami game and what their defensive line did to Texas A&M's offensive line, which I was never big on them in the first place. I think that they got, right, I mean, I was, look at A&M's games throughout the year, the comebacks they had to do, all that. I think they were way overrated all season long. Yeah. And I think the fact that people think A&M was so good, especially offensively, makes Miami's defensive line look that much better. But good defensive line, very good at pass rushing. I'm not sold on their rush defense completely, but at the level people are taking it, it's just too far. It's ludicrous to me. Especially some of the national media guys have caught on to this, and it's like, what are you talking about, guys? I mean, show me, other than your opinion, show me where this is fact. And all they can do is point to sacks. And I'm like, okay, well, did that win you the game? No, man, it didn't. And again, the A&M thing, be careful, man. They scored 3 points. Okay. Texas A&M team that had struggles all year long, turned the ball over 4 times. It's like, hey, their quarterback helped you out a lot by turning the ball over the way he did. But good defensive line, nowhere near what they're being talked about. And they might prove me wrong, but I'm very confident they're not going to.
Definitely. And so Nevada, I'm gonna set you up. I want you to jump in on this, but real quick, and I'm gonna talk about this more in a minute. But I went back and watched more Miami games. I watched the Louisville game, the SMU game, Florida State, to start out with, and I'm going to get into more detail of the commonality of how they lost those games. But against SMU, Bain Jr., their big stud, first round draft pick, and he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's good. But 2 tackles and 0 sacks versus SMU. Against Louisville, 1 tackle, 0 sacks. Okay, so they talk about sacks and how disruptive Bain is, but he was nowhere to be found in that game. And there's reasons why, which I'm going to get into more later. But Nevada, here's my question for you, because you're confident. You said this does not have to be close, and I agree with you. I guess touch on a little bit from a football standpoint of why you're so confident in that, coupled with, do you agree, and you, Dev, when you get a chance to respond, do you think the overemphasis on Miami's D-line being so good and so much better than Ohio State is very similar to what we saw last year? Ohio State coming off that Michigan game, being dominated, going into a Tennessee game where their D-line was just, oh my God, this is the best defensive line in the country. To me, it seems similar. I think the overemphasis on the defensive line for Miami is because of the last performance, 5 sacks given up against Indiana. Do you think that's a thing? And then, Nevada, tell me why your confidence is where it is.
Well, look, I think you just have to understand how the media works. The media is always looking for a narrative, and they're looking for a narrative as to why this game is going to be close. So they want to sell the idea that this is going to be a close game. And, they've kind of latched onto this idea that Miami's got an advantage on the defensive line and on the offensive line against Ohio State. And so that's what they're going to – I just think it's kind of a lazy take because people kind of latch onto it. They just start talking about it. They just kind of say it because it's something that's subjective and you can't really objectively measure it, that it's an opinion. And so it's hard to really refute an opinion on something like that. But for Ohio State, I know they've heard it. The Ohio State offensive line's heard it. The Ohio State defensive line's heard it. They've all heard it. And I think that, for the Ohio State coaches are doing a really good job of, challenge these groups, individually, making it personal to them. I've rarely seen Ohio State follow up what I consider to be a less than great effort with another less than great effort, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So I just, I think that in combination with the fact that Ryan Day's taken over the play calling, the type of talent and type of motivation that we have, the loss against the Indiana game, and we're playing a Miami team that frankly is just not a great football team. They're okay, they're good. They're not a great football team, and I think we are a great football team. And so I think when you add up all and we have a better coach than they have too. So I think when you go around, all the the different things, the key positions, I just don't think the game's going to be close. And I think that when you hear people talking about things like the offensive line or the defensive line, I just think they've latched on to kind of a talking point, but they don't really know why that is, because once you dive a little deeper and you watch the teams how they've actually played, it's just, it's not, it's hard to come up with an argument how they're better. I mean, statistically, you're talking about an Ohio State defense that has played at a historically good level. You're talking one of the great, statistically great defenses of the modern era. And you can't do that without a dominant defensive line. Miami's not played at that level. Miami's had some real stinkers on defense to some, mediocre offenses. And I think Ryan Day is going to really exploit that on Wednesday night. But, again, that's my opinion. We'll all see on Wednesday night, but I think I got this one.
No, those are great points. And real quick, I'll put this on the screen. I was wondering about that. I think Dev was thinking about the Dolphins when you said Waddle, Miami. Yeah. So what that does, that takes away from the the P's or the plus that you gave them for developing a guy. They don't even get credit for that, Dev. Are you on mute? I think you're on mute.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. That's exactly what I was doing. Man, when you look up Miami, stats, Miami Hurricanes have such little fans. They don't really put a lot of information about them on the internet. They always put the Miami Dolphins on there.
Right, but they don't even get credit for it. So who else is it? I mean, the point is they haven't really developed. It's like, this, be logical, man. Like, yeah, you want your guys to stay home, but you're the number one receiver in the country, the number one overall player. You want to get to the NFL and be developed at the highest level. Shoot, even Luke, Nevada, wasn't it Luke in his rant? Because that's your buddy, used to, kick it with y'all to do y'all's thing. Didn't he say that the wide receiver coach sucked? He said that in his rant.
I mean, he said a lot of things, but I mean, with look, he made a career out of saying outrageous things and getting people to, me so horny, we love you long time. You know what I'm saying? He did. So I don't really take it that seriously, but it's just fun. It's gonna be a fun matchup. I mean, you've got kind of the brash bravado of Miami, but it's all just a veneer. There's not a lot of things to back it up. There's not a lot of substance behind it, and I don't even think the Miami people really believe it. It's kind of like listening to Portnoy. Like when you listen to Portnoy, if you take him seriously, then you get kind of all riled up about it. But when you realize it's all a shtick, that no matter what he says, it's just all just nonsense. That's how kind of I look at it with Miami. I don't think the Miami people really believe they're going to win this game. And frankly, you know what? They're voting with their pocketbooks because they ain't coming to the game in Dallas. So there's not a lot of them that think they're going to win this game on Wednesday night. And so I like I said, I just think it's all just kind of fodder. But I love it because it's it's fuel for the fire for guys that you really don't want to play against you want Ohio State when they're looking past the game, when they're a pint low emotionally, kind of like the way Indiana caught us to the Big Ten championship game. Man, you do not want to make this game personal for them, because if you do, you're going to get a bad result. And I think Miami's going to get a bad result on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and Nevada, I don't know, man. Dealing with some of these Miami fans, I think some of them actually believe they're going to win. Like, I really do. Maybe not some of the media types, but some of the fans, bro. Like, I mean, if they don't, they're excellent actors. They're excellent fronters, and that's possible. But I really do believe that they think they're going to win. And what's driving them, and this is why I made this. Y'all tell me if this was trolly enough for Miami fans. I want it to be extra trolly. Look how angry that Miami fan is. Jeremiah Smith flossing his ring. Oh, they're so salty. I think they're driven. They're so driven by butthurt. Honestly, fellas, this 23-year-old, saltiness that they've carried like a burden all of their lives is really something to examine. I mean, this is crazy, y'all. Crazy. So I don't know, Dev. Do you think they're serious? You think they believe it, or they're just talking?
Well, from my experience talking to the real Miami fans, they give themselves about a 20% chance to win this game, which I agree with. Do I think Miami can beat us? Yes, I do, right? A lot of people want to point to my take on the Indiana game. Defensive, yeah, for sure. I mean, nobody really knows. You got to play the game, but for the most part, we're pretty good, right, at diagnosing how the game is going to go. And we could dive into why the Indiana game didn't go like we thought it was going to go, but it's a little bit different. I mean, first, before I forget, the correction, last 10 years, Miami 0 first round picks. Last one was Dorsett, 2015. Then before that, it was a 12-year draft or 12-year,
Yikes.
right, of none. It was Andre Johnson in 2003, bro. So, yeah, you know, the reason why you would say, hey, there's no way they believe it is because there's no facts to back this up, right? There's very little facts to back up that their defensive line is like way better. To find those, you've got to dive in, create your own little thing, and do that. And you know what's hilarious is I've been hearing a lot of these shows talk about how, right, and I can, it doesn't make sense to me. I hear even Dalton from PFF, respect him, love him, but it really confused me when he picked Miami's offensive line and Miami's defensive line over Ohio State's, but picked Ohio State to win by 17 points, and he's not the only one. Several people are
Wow.
talking about how good their defensive line is, but yet when they make their score prediction, it's Buckeyes by 50. It's just like, what? What are we doing here? So I think that goes to back up kind of what Nevada is saying with they got to make this game exciting somehow. They got to add some. What they're definitely not going to do is talk about J.J. Smith against their secondary. They can't do that. They can't talk about Carson Beck against Julian Sand. So I guess the least outlandish thing they can do is talk about their defensive line. So I guess that makes sense. But I mean, one more note on that. Before the Tennessee game, how much did we hear about Colin Simmons and how he was going to wreck our offensive line, right? 3 tackles, 0 sacks. And then Texas, who was it? Oh, wait, the other one. James Pierce was Tennessee. Then Colin Simmons
Yeah.
for Texas, 1 tackle. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So,
Right.
yeah, you can point to the Indiana game and that we were wrong there, but I can give you 10 examples of when we told you, hey, no, this Tennessee defensive line, the offensive line come out with their shirts off all they want, but it's not going to go their way. And Miami fans essentially are on the field in the snow with their shirts off right now. That's what they're doing, right? That's what they
That's
remind me of.
that's a good way to paint the picture. Nevada, I saw you hop off mute a minute ago. So hop back on. But I wanted to ask you, did the line move at all? Is it still -9? And I've heard you say many times that the line is what it is for a reason.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, the line's settled in right about at 9, and I think that's you're probably not going to see a lot of movement, a lot of sharp movement on that one. That's kind of one of those lines that kind of gets entrenched, as we get closer to game day. But yeah, we're the biggest favorite of anybody, coming into the quarterfinals. All the kind of the weak sisters, the James Madisons, the other teams have been kind of jettisoned already from the playoff. But no, you've got an Ohio State team that's been very prolific. Playing against the Miami team that's been kind of hit and miss. Ohio State's been kind of the model of consistency against the spread all year. And yeah, the Indiana game was a little bit of an outlier. If you tell me that we're going to not convert on a 4th and 6 inches sneak and that Jaden Fielding's going to miss a 28-yard field goal, yeah, I'd probably be like, okay, yeah. I guess people that were on the Indiana side had to know that was going to happen because otherwise, that game goes the Buckeyes' way. But I'm telling you, I've said it before, but the more I've been talking to people, watching what's going on, hearing talking to the helping technician, seeing stuff that's going on close to the program, the best thing that happened to Ohio State in 2025 was losing that Big Ten championship game. I'm just telling you, it was the exact tonic that they needed to make a number of structural changes in their approach on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball, but specifically on offense, specifically in the red zone and short yardage. And I think it's going to pay huge dividends throughout the next 3 games of the college football playoff. And I'm not sure it would have happened if we didn't lose. So blessing in disguise, 100% believe that.
I'm on mute. We talking about Miami fan logic. Here's some Miami fan logic for y'all right here. I'm about to play this 11-second clip. Let me see if Nevada hops back in first before I do that. Here he is. I'm about to play this this clip, Nevada, bringing you back in of the Miami fan logic. Listen, even if they are just acting like they believe this is hilarious. Check this out. Hold on.
Go back and watch that Michigan game, right?
Hold on.
And follow. I mean, go back and watch that Michigan game, right? Michigan had to keep settling for field goals. Imagine if those were touchdowns. What would that game have been?
Yeah.
So hold on, man. This is their logic, and they just. I mean, he said that with his chest, Nevada. I mean, he said that like it was a profound. Or we lost Nevada again. Nevada said, "I'm done. I'm done with this podcast. This is over with. I'm leaving."
Yeah. That's the thing, B. That's the thing, though. I saw that clip. That was 2 hours of research, hardcore film watching. That's what he got out of his really hard work preparing for that show. That was his big gotcha moment. Can you imagine if Michigan would have scored more touchdowns? I bet you they would have won. I mean, I really want to cuss right now and just drop a no, Sherlock. I mean,
Nevada, what's the saying? What's the saying? If my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle, or whatever the saying is.
Well, no, but here's the thing. Even if Michigan had scored touchdowns in all three of those drives, they still would have lost the game. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it's a silly, it's one of those silly, hypotheticals about, you're not giving credit to one team for stopping you. And look, and anybody who watched that game, the Ohio State Michigan game, there were those two teams. They weren't even. The game didn't have to be close. The game was on the road at Michigan in the snow, and we just completely took their souls away from them. So it was so bad that their coach attempted to kill his formerly impregnated executive assistant, and they ended up firing the coach. So that game had far-reaching implications that went beyond Michigan's troubles in the red zone. That's for sure.
Yeah, and for those people that want to bring up the Indiana game, like, hey, we say if we would have scored, we were 4th and 6 inches, and we were inside the 10-yard line twice. Michigan was not. They didn't even make it to the red zone in those drives. So we're talking about different things here, but to each their own.
Yeah, that's a great retort. Great response to that. It's like there's levels to this, y'all. That's not a gotcha moment. There's levels. Watch the games. But we're going to get to super chats as they start to pile up. But I wanted to touch on a couple things. Fellas, real quick, because I keep hearing another thing Miami fans are crowing about is Mark Fletcher. The former Ohio State Buckeye commit, Mark Fletcher, had a really good game against Texas A&M, his best game. But looking at his season stats, they haven't ran the ball. They have not been a juggernaut running the ball. He has 857 total yards. He has 10 TDs, averages 5.4 yards a carry. Looking at Bo Jackson doesn't have as many TDs, and that's because if you watch the Ohio State games, they usually put in Donaldson at the goal line, or hand it to Nate Roberts on a fullback dive. So Bo Jackson doesn't get the benefit of being in at the goal line as much, but he has 1,035 yards, averages 6.2 yards per carry, and he started the season late. He didn't even play against Texas, and he only played mop-up duty, at the beginning until he earned the starting position. So listen, this is not a knock on Fletcher. I think Fletcher is a good back. You can see the talent. He's a good north-south runner. But my point is, rewatching the Miami games, they have a good offensive line, but they don't have a great offensive line. The interior of their line is not great. Their run has been getting low-key stuffed all season, but they popped some against Texas A&M. And so I wanted to ask y'all about that. What's your thoughts on what I said about Mark Fletcher and them running the ball against Ohio State? And then we can transition.
Well, I will say that in every metric, Bo Jackson is a better running. Mark Fletcher, the bigger running back, he's not a cut, make you miss type of guy. I think Bo Jackson's, and I might completely botch this, but either way, you'll get the point. I think Bo Jackson's like forced missed tackle rate is like 3.9. Mark Fletcher's is 3.1. And you would think Mark Fletcher's would be higher given the bigger stature that he is. But yeah, I mean, again, everybody's pointing to the Texas A&M game. Every argument we hear about these Miami fans is riding off of that one game against Texas A&M, who has been way overrated all season long. And anybody that knows football will tell you that. I mean, I don't, and again, we got to go play the game, right? And we will see. But yeah, this is all going off of a game where they won 10-3, right? And there were like 7 turnovers in the game. So it's wild.
Nevada, how you feel about Fletcher and, Miami fans feeling like they can run the ball on us?
Well, first of all, nobody's been able to run we have 4 All-Americans right down the middle. We've talked about Cade McDonald, Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs. Very difficult to run, especially with the north-south runner. You're not talking about Bijan Robinson. You're talking about Fletcher, who likes to go straight ahead. Very tough sledding against Ohio State, but just you take the subjectivity away and just go from an objective measure. We all admit that Ohio State has not been great running the ball this year, right? We don't have a running quarterback. The scheme hasn't exactly been running friendly. We haven't been great running the football. Well, we're 63rd in the country rushing the football. Miami's 75th. They're 4.31 yards per carry. We're 4.69 yards per carry. So as bad as we've been, this has not been a great year. This has not been a banner year for us that run the ball. We're better than Miami. Yeah. So I mean, you can say what you want, have opinions and stuff like that, but if you're not better than we are, and you've got a north-south runner who's going to try to go right to the teeth of the Ohio State defense, I just think that's going to be really tough sledding. And good luck doing that on Wednesday.
Good luck. And real quick, you made me think about something. I love this kid. I love Caden McDonald so much. This is his quote. He was asked about Mark Fletcher and his performance against Texas A&M. He said, "Miami is a good team. ACC. It's about us, though. I feel like the preparation I put in, I won't be blocked. Whatever they got for us, we coming." So you don't want to piss off a guy like Caden McDonald. First of all, this kid has been lights out. There's nothing you can really point to this year and say, dang, he had a bad game. Not once. So you got to run the ball up against a pissed off Caden McDonald, along with that interior, Sonny Styles, who really, really quick. I'm just going to quickly put this on the screen because ball knowers, this second half of the season, fellas, because it's funny how the beginning of the season, people were gushing over Arvell Reese, and rightly so. But the second half of the season, random ball knowers, film watchers, not Buckeye fans, have been gushing over number 0, Sonny Styles. I mean, just absolute animal. So, like Nevada said, you got to run the ball down the interior of Caden McDonald, Sonny Styles, obviously Arvell Reese as well. Our entire defensive line, are all really good against the run. Kenyatta Jackson as an end is really good against the run if you try to run on the edge. Caden Curry is no slouch. And so it's like, okay, yeah, Fletcher is a good back. He had a good game against A&M. We ain't A&M. Our defense, our defense was not the reason we lost to Indiana, y'all. And I'm going to take this off the screen. But I really feel like our defense does have a chip because they don't like losing. And Patricia and this defense is using the psychological factor of, I don't care if we weren't the reason we lost. We could have made one more stop. We could have, their defense outplayed our defense is what they basically said. That's what Sonny Styles said in the press conference. So this defense, how is Miami going to consistently move the ball in this defense? I just can't see it. And what you got on that, Nevada?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, look, we're averaging 8 points a game or whatever it is, and we've been very stingy through the air. We've been very stingy on the ground. I mean, I would think that the one way you could kind of hurt or challenge or stretch this defense would be with a running quarterback, like a true dual threat quarterback who
Yeah.
could throw and could run, could really, put pressure. And, we can still deal with it. We've dealt with mobile quarterbacks all year, but I think it's the one way to add additional stress. Well, Miami doesn't even have that. Now Beck's experienced, but he's immobile. So I think our cage rushing, I think the way that we're so disciplined and are so good at disguising coverages against a guy like that who's prone to interceptions and bad throws. I really like the match. I think that's going to be really I think we'll score enough, and I think they'll really have trouble scoring, and I think that's really going to be the story of the game on Wednesday night.
Yep, Dev.
Yeah, I mean, dude, first off, Carson Beck is number 1 in the country with getting the ball out of his hands faster than anybody because his average depth of target is 4.4 yards, right? And the reason why I started with that is because they got to be able to rush the ball to win this game, right? I think Ohio State's defensive game plan is make them one-dimensional. Make Carson Beck beat you with his arm. He hasn't done it all season long. And both the games that they lost, I think they were held to under. SMU, they did have 159 rushing yards, but gave up 365 passing yards. But in that Louisville loss, they only had 63 rushing yards, man. So, right, that's what won them the A&M game, right? And that was because of a really bad defensive line performance by A&M with simply not covering your gaps. I mean, go look at the film. It was just bad defensive line performance. But, yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, stop the rush, which for All-Americans up the middle, we've already talked about how we're going to do that. And then their only hope is Carson Beck, and they only have Malachi Toney to throw it down the field, which – right, Matty P knows that, and he'll put Jalen McClain behind him somewhere. I imagine Caleb Downs going to be up on the line doing his thing, whatever he wants. But I wanted to throw one question in there, and sorry if this goes on longer, but I wanted to ask you guys, what's your number one fear, right? What is the number one thing that Ohio State would have to do to lose this game, right? And I will start off by saying, obviously, for me, offensive side of the ball, I've seen several people talk about, right, our slow pace of play and how we want to turn that switch on and change that. Are we going to be able to do that? So what's your guys' number one fear for this game?
Yeah, I mean, it's if everything we've been told and heard is changes on a dime and they stick with the 13-14 personnel, like a similar game plan versus Indiana. I mean, that would be a fear, but I don't expect that to happen. I don't see that happening, but that would be a fear if that was the case. And then I guess maybe just turnovers, just silly turnovers, tip passes, like stuff like that. But that's not something I'm just like staying awake at night about. But that's it. Nevada, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I hate to be the old guy that repeats himself or repeats what the guy in front of me said, but I agree with B. I think it's the 13 or 14 personnel in short yardage and in the red zone. If for some reason Ryan gets in his head that he's got, he doesn't like the criticism, he's going to go back to it to prove that it could work or just something stupid. Now they haven't practiced it that way, they haven't game planned it that way. But you just never know once the game starts going, how it's going to go. That would be my one fear of stuff. The other stuff, like you said, the Mimi, fumble in a snap or a ball bounces off somebody's head and goes over. That can always happen, and it would take a lot of that stuff all going against Ohio State. But short yardage stuff. I mean, I shouldn't feel bad when we get to 3rd and 1, but I do now. Like when we get 3rd and 1, I'm afraid. I know when JT Barrett was the quarterback, I knew we'd convert that. Like I knew we'd run right to the line, we'd run that zone read stuff, and we'd convert it, 95% of the time. Now it's like you're just holding your breath, praying, what are they going to, how many guys are we going to bring into the box in terms of doing it? So I just hope the first time we're in short yardage, we don't clog up, we don't bring in everybody into a phone booth. We spread them out and we run something. And if I do that, then I won't have any fears because that's the only thing I'm really concerned about.
Yeah. I asked that because a lot of these people in these videos we've been talking about, the people that talk up the Miami defensive line, that's what they add into this equation, that Ohio State's offense isn't going to be able to just flip that switch and change in one game. And the whole time I'm listening to them talk, I'm like, did you guys not watch the playoffs last year? Am I wrong in saying that our offense during the regular season looked quite a bit different than it did in the playoffs last year? Am I wrong in that?
No, you're right. You're
That's what I
absolutely
thought.
correct.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is funny, man. When I used to do the show with Funky, like the Michigan game, when I went back and watched that game as many times as I did, I caught out the fact that the success we had in the second half, which was very minimal in running the ball, was with counter plays. Hat-on-hat counter plays actually worked. Judkins popped the one for like over 10 yards. Trey had one for 8 yards. But because we ran a lot of zone running schemes in that game that just kept getting stuffed. And I said, we need to lean into the counter run game. And what did we see against Tennessee, Nevada? Heavy counter, heavy counter, play action. And we saw what we saw. And so, yes, the offense was much different from that standpoint in the playoffs. What you got, Nevada?
Well, it was just more aggressive. It was just, you just felt it from the first, possession that we were playing to win. We were more aggressive, markedly more so than any time. So I think the offense looks similar, but the aggression level was amped up about threefold. And that's what you hope that we tap into with Ryan Day and with him calling the plays this time. There's no reason to believe that we won't see peak Ryan, kind of like circa 2022 Georgia Ryan. And if he plays the game, fearlessly and they attack, whatever happens, I'm okay with. I want, if we're going to go out on our shield, I want to go out that way. Just don't do it, calling a passive game or a scared game or a conservative game. That would be the only thing that would be disappointing.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I think.
I'm muted. My bad. So no, I was saying I definitely agree with that. And let's dive into the super chats. John Yoakum, thanks for the 199. Show Tank, no one in the Keys care about Miami. Show Tank. Does that I'm not sure. Was that a typo or am I missing something? Do y'all know what that means, Dev?
Maybe no, I don't. Nope.
All right. So Johnny Yoakum, maybe put it in the chat and then we can circle back to it because I want to properly address. You did say no one in the Keys care about Miami. So, I mean, we understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Miami, I got a lot of colleges. I got Florida State, Florida, Miami, the state of Florida, I should say, has a lot of universities. And so I get that. I don't know how it's kind of split up. How close is the Keys, Dev, to Miami? Because that's not Miami, right? How close?
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
I mean,
okay.
not pretty close. I drive through Miami to get to the Keys, but I'll tell you this: been to the Keys a couple times. Couple restaurants there, decked out in Ohio State gear, decked out.
Wow. Yeah, we everywhere.
We
everywhere. But yeah, put it in the chat. Let me see if I see anything, Johnny. Now, if not, then I'll circle back to you. Not yet. So I'll circle back. Remind me. All right, let's get to the next one. We got Geo Dit. Thanks for the 5. So is Brandon Ennis a sellout too? He's from the same area. What bunch of delusional weak sauce nonsense. Shaking my head. It's a great point. I mean, I guess you got to be consistent with the logic. They're all sellouts, I guess. But I mean, I thought that was, and you mentioned that earlier, Dev. Then you brought up Brandon Ennis as one of those Miami natives on the roster who feel a type of way as well. And so Brandon Ennis is not chopped liver. He scored a touchdown against Michigan. You better watch out for him too, Dev.
Yeah, that whole thing. There are several players, right, from that area that play for the Buckeyes. They came here for development for a reason. You guys have a couple players, Luka Gilbert, the tight end, right, from Ohio, all that. We're not sitting here talking about, right. JJ made the smartest decision for himself. Brandon Ennis did as well. We'll see, man. The Brandon Ennis. I don't want to get off topic there, but yeah, I mean, the receivers made the right choice. Everybody knows Ohio State's wide receiver U. That's not a Scarlet Glasses. That's that's nothing, man. I mean, look at the NFL. That there's, I think even LSU fans would agree with us.
Right. Exactly. What you got, Nevada?
Well, yeah, like I mean, our Ohio State's history of going down to Florida for getting wide receivers. I mean, that predates my birth, and I mean, they've been doing that for forever and ever and ever,
Right.
and so yeah, the idea if he's a trader, there's a long list of traders that have gone on to NFL riches, Super Bowl MVPs, and Hall of Fame players. All going from Florida up to Ohio State to play wide receiver. So JJ's certainly in good company.
Definitely. And
Hey,
go ahead.
Johnny just put another $1.99 super chat. He corrected his. He meant show Tank, my dog,
Yeah.
Tank. It was funny
Okay.
because I did right when you pulled that up.
Yeah, that is funny. And I saw him posted in there, and I was just like, oh, like I mean, it's just funny how one letter could change something.
Yeah.
I'm like, is Tank a former Miami player? Tank that I forgot about, but no, that's funny.
Listen,
That's
is
funny.
she not the cutest dog ever?
Definitely.
Like, rank her out of 10. Look at her. Nevada, I know you're a dog
A
dude.
10.
Yeah,
Well,
she a 10. She's a
I
10.
think she's cute. She's got the Ohio State hat on, and that's you, Devin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You
That's
guys look
funny.
like twins, man. You got twins that with the same facial hair and everything like that. You guys are
I
both
am her
awfully
dad.
cute. You are awfully cute.
Twinning.
Twinning.
That's my I forget his name. Impression. The crazy dude. Winning. What's his name again?
Oh,
I know
what
the
you're
actor.
talking
Major
about.
League.
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. There it is. There it is. All right. Geo did with another one. Thanks for the 5. Miami is a horrible fan base. From the U to the Heat to the Marlins to the Dolphins. Just unintelligent bandwagon riders. Yeah, you're down there in Florida, Dev. I mean, I've heard similar things about Miami. I mean, just Florida fans, I guess. I'm sorry, Miami fans. Let me not take a dookie on Florida as a state, but Miami fans. Do you concur with that, Dev?
I do. And what's crazy, I guess it's not really crazy, but I'm going to be honest, man. Like, Miami fans are pretty rare, even in Florida. Like, I see FSU fans, Florida fans here in Tallahassee, at least all over the place. There's not many, right? Like, I had like 360 clients this year. 2 of them were Miami fans. The rest were FSU Florida fans, man. I mean, it's weird. So Florida is flooded with Florida, and FSU, and yeah, the Miami fans, the one I ran into today on the golf course, I asked him who the quarterback to Miami was, and he said Tui Tagovailoa, and I'm like, man, that's the NFL. So,
oh man, that is trash. Nevada, you've been around the world. You are Nevada, San Diego. You travel. Do you concur, or do you not have any thoughts on Miami fans, or what you think?
No, I look. I think it's they don't really have a large alumni base, small private school, so everybody's kind of a bandwagon fan from that standpoint. But it's just been interesting. While they were hot, they were kind of you would see that gear around even nationally. You know what I'm saying? And since they've fallen off, it just they're just kind of they're like something that used to be cool. We talked about J.C. Penney or Sears. It's like the Miami used to be cool, but now they're just not cool anymore, man.
Sears, that is
Sears.
always
perfect.
hilarious.
He said, yeah. Last time he said, that's perfect, man. It's perfect.
No, it's true. It's true.
It's true.
Miami, they used to be very, very cool, but just I mean, just not cool anymore. Like Chess King, you'd go to the Chess King store down at the mall or something. I can see B. Moses at the Chess King buying stuff or
Back
something
in the
like
day,
that.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that is. What is Chess
old,
King?
bro? It was an
man.
old store in the mall, and
It was
every
in
urban
every
mall you can think of.
Every mall you could go in there was a Chess King.
Yep. That's a great call. Those are great examples. That's what Miami was. And so yeah, a bunch of bandwagon fans from when they were good. It's just what it is, man. It's lame.
Dog you.
Exactly. All right. Geo did with more heat. Thanks for the 5. Miami is chirping the same way they did in 2002. No culture change in 24 years. Meanwhile, are we doing any chirping? No. Why? We don't need to. Yeah. So players like Caden McDonald, because they try to say, well, Caden McDonald and JJ Smith, they're just confident. All they say is, listen, first of all, in JJ Smith's comments, both comments, they started out by saying, hey, they're good. Miami's a good team. They have a good defense. They have a good offense. And we're ready. We got something for them, though. Like, that's confidence. To me, that's different from, and plus, I don't know, like, the chirping their fans are doing, it's just weird because they're trying to play they're fellas. This is what I'm noticing. They're chirping, but at the same time, they're trying to play the victim at the same time, which is weird to me. Like, no, we're responding to your chirping. We're not just playing y'all down like y'all know. We're looking at the matchup realistically. We're breaking it down, but y'all coming out flying with the takes of, Ohio State ain't like that for real. And our lines are better. And they ain't played nobody. It's just those are the takes that we're responding to. It's just like, wait a minute. We didn't play nobody, but you lost to 2 bums on your schedule? Make that make sense, sir. That's all we're saying. And so, Dev, what you got on that, bro?
Yeah, I mean, every fan base chirps, but the difference is instead of chirping and saying, hey, I think our defensive line can hold up against Ohio State, you guys are saying, hey, I think our defensive line is absolutely going to dominate Ohio State. Even when the camera's off, that's what you're saying. And let me remind you, who I am talking to is the bandwagon Miami fans that can't even name 5 players on your own team, okay? Like I said, I know a couple Miami fans, like real-life Miami fans, and when I talk to them, they will say, hey, I think if we play Ohio State 10 times, I think we'll win twice. And I'm like, I'll give you that. You know what I mean? Because what about you guys? B, what would you pick? If we played 10 times, how many times do you think Miami could win?
I would, to be kind, I say 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
I think, there's a path where we just played terribly or, some turnovers went their way 3 or 4 times out of 10. But again, it's a -9, betting line for a reason. And so, yeah, Nevada, what you think?
He's eating his steak.
Did we lose him?
Nevada.
No.
Yeah, he don't.
There you go.
No, I was trying to stay muted there because I when I heard you say 3 or 4, I was going to come flying through the things or slapping you around there, B. But
that's not a lot out of 10.
That's a lot.
That's 6 or 7. We win 6 or 7 times.
4 is way too much, B. 4 is way too much.
Man,
listen, I told you I was being kind before that. 3 or 4.
What has happened? I'm like, B. Moses has been taking like the body snatchers have taken him over or something like that.
I'm trying to be nice. That's still what 70%.
You leave the room. Get your son in here. We need a sensible take. We need a sensible take out of somebody there. But yeah, I'm going to say 2. I'm going to say 2 out of 10 times that Miami could win the game. I think that's about right. I think that's probably in line with the betting lines too. But no, it's going to take a series of unfortunate events for them to win this game. But look, Caden McDonald said it right. This is about us. This isn't about Miami. This isn't about anything. This is about us. If we play our game, if we play fearlessly, if Ryan Day calls just a sensible game, let's just have a return to normalcy in terms of our approach in the red zone and in short yardage. If we do that, we're going to be just fine. No reason to believe this game has. There's when you look for one of those outlier games, you're generally looking at weather, home field advantage, something weird kind of introduced into the thing. We have none of that. We're going to have it's going to be 90% Ohio State fans. It's going to be like a home game, just playing in Jerry World. So no excuses. I think we're going to be just fine. And I'm going to say 2. And shame on you, B. Moses, for saying 4. Man, I can't believe that.
Hey,
Nevada's perfect.
You can't say I didn't throw y'all any nuggets or crumbs.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm so sad right now.
Nevada, that was the perfect time to hit him with the Nevada truth, man. You know what I'm talking? You got to say your line, dude. This game does not.
It doesn't need to be close. It doesn't need to be close. No, it doesn't.
I tried to help y'all, Miami fans, but I got rebuked sharply. So I tried. All right. I try to be nice. And next time y'all say, well, you're biased. Well, I tried. All
Go
right, let me see
Times.
what we got next here. Toledo Geo. I'm telling you, you be in my mind, bro. Thanks for the 2. When Nevada said "Me So Horny," the 2 Live Crew song, I promise you, I thought about Sharon Moore. He
Come on,
said that's Sharon Moore's
me,
walk-up
me,
music.
me love you long time. Me love you long time.
Me love you long time.
Long time.
Oh man. Now
Come on,
that's
bro.
Dev. I know you're little younger.
I,
Are you
I know
hip
that
to this
song.
song?
I'm hip to the song.
Okay,
I'm hip
okay.
to it.
Just
I
asking.
am.
I'll have you know, the night that I was out with Uncle Luke, they played that song at the club too, and he
Oh,
was out there with
how could you
a
not?
bottle. He was out there with a bottle, pumping his arm, and everything. Oh, me so horny. We love you
Oh
long
man.
time. Oh man.
That
Woo.
is just incredible stuff. Do we have any footage? Any can you call the
Oh.
club and have them like give you any tape of Nevada out there just, doing a Tootsie Roll?
Oh my gosh, that was so bad. That was so bad. What a fun night. That was a fun night.
Nevada Buck Chronicles, baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. All right, Buckeyes 06. Thanks for being a Scoop Watcher member. Thanks for the 1999. For those worried about a repeat of the offensive performance from the Big Ten championship game, Ryan Day isn't going to have 2 bad offensive games in a row. No way, no how. I 1000% agree. Dev, what you got on that?
I 100% agree. And I'm going to say this, it's going to want to spark a big conversation. This is a show for a different time, but I want to add in the comment. And I'm sorry, guys, but I think Brian Hartline hindered our offensive performance during the regular season this year. That's all I got to say.
That's fine. Now, with that said, but you agree that the it's not going to be too bad offensive.
100%. Yeah, my
Okay,
point is Ryan Day is taking over now.
Got you.
Right. So, yes.
Nevada, what you got on that?
Well, I agree with Devin. I mean, I've always, I've said this before. The reason we all know the reason why he was the offensive coordinator was to keep his recruiting chops inside the house. Now that that's gone, and we actually managed to hold on to the entire recruiting class of wide receivers. Now you can, you bring in the big dog to call the plays. At least do I think long term I want Ryan Day calling the plays? I don't. Do I want him calling the plays for 3 games during the playoffs? I do. Do I think we'll be better? Absolutely. Will we roll 2 clinkers on offense together back to back? Haven't seen that happen in Ryan Day's entire tenure at Ohio State.
Right.
Even when we talk about the 2 games, the Oregon game last year and then the Nebraska game. Well, the Oregon game wasn't a bad offensive performance. That we were chewing them up and down the field that day. So I don't think we've had 2 bad performances back to back in Ryan Day's tenure, and I don't think it's going to start now in the Cotton Bowl.
Agreed. And just a reminder, people like myself and Nevada and Dev, we weren't happy in an agreement with Ryan Day giving up play calling because he's trash. We were in agreement because he's the CEO. Like it's better for him to be able to have his eyes on the defense and special teams and the flow of the game and timeouts and clock management instead of, the play calling. That's why, not because he's bad. Just wanted to remind people of that because y'all still spazzing and acting goofy about him calling plays as if it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's what me and Nevada wanted on this show as we were discussing our concerns about Brian having 1 foot out in the door and the other, in USF. So anyway, Mike Green, what up, bro? Thanks for the $4.99. Miami podcast dudes are little league football coaches. They don't have a real fan base covering this team. Florida does not support this team. That's pretty adamant. I mean, that lines up. Again, I don't know Florida culture. I know they love football down there. They got a lot of talent. They got a lot of universities. So, yeah, I mean, hearing the keys that Dev said is not far from Miami doesn't rock with Miami like that. That's eye-opening. I would have thought they would. So what you got on that, Dev? You're a Florida person.
It lines up with what I said. I'm telling you, even living in Florida, I run into way more Florida State and Florida fans than I do Miami, and obviously a smaller private school like Nevada said, but still we're in Florida. Even in Miami and even in, Tampa and all those places, it's just like, bro, I see more Ohio State fans in Florida than I do Miami fans. And that's real talk. Like, I'm being serious. I really do.
Wow. That's crazy. Nevada?
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually just going to make that point. I said, I'll bet you in State down there's more Ohio State fans than are Miami fans, because I always run into Ohio State fans down there, and Miami fans, you'll see them, but not as much as you think. It's not. Like I said, it's not. It doesn't have a huge national brand. It doesn't have a great local presence, and when they're not winning national championships or winning 34 games in a row, um, people move on to other things, and I think that's just kind of that's the nature of South Florida. But yeah, not great. And the thing about everybody's a little league football coach. Everybody is a little league football coach. Everybody I meet down in Florida has a pee wee football team or something like that in tow. Whether it be 7-on-7 or tackle, yeah, they're all little league football coaches. That's for darn sure.
All right, I'm learning something new. Ernie Gonzalez, what's up, man? Thanks for the 499. Nevada, would all this talk be to try and swing the betting needle? Yeah, Nevada, good question. Good question. What you think?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, again, stuff. When you talk about stuff that's going to try to move lines and stuff, man, you're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I think the sharps and the guys that are on, they're not swayed by any of the talk. They kind of know what's up, and I think this game really is about Ryan Day from a betting standpoint. I'm just telling you, from the sharp guys that I talked to in the betting, they're just like, which Ryan Day are you going to get? If you get good Ryan, this game will not be close. This game will be a blowout. If you get bad Ryan, this game could stay inside the number. So I think it's all about us. I think it's all about Ryan Day and how aggressive he is calling the offense. Has he seen the light? As the national championship of last year liberated him to call a fearless game in the Cotton Bowl? If he does, game won't be close. But if it doesn't, yeah. But I really think that's the key to the game.
Yeah, I agree. And I just can't see Ryan Day not just going in. I think he's chomping at the bit, excited to call plays again, especially after watching film. Like, if you go back and rewatch Miami's games, I was telling the fellas backstage, and maybe I'll get into this more on another pod because we still have a few days until this matchup. But if you go back and watch their games, I actually go back and watch your confidence level. If you're not that confident now, your confidence level in beating this team is going to go up very high, maybe. I'll just say that. So they have access to the film. They see what Miami has been susceptible to, and they see what we bring to the table. They see what our issues have been, and they're very, very fixable. And so, yes, they're licking their chops after watching the film. Now, like Dev said, the game has to be played. Execution has to happen. All of that stuff. But watching film and watching this Miami team, there's no way these Ohio State players, especially coming off that loss, knowing they didn't play well, knowing the coaching wasn't the greatest. It was a group effort. They cannot wait to get out here on this field against Miami. I can tell you that for sure. So, Deb,
Yeah.
did you want to say anything about this before we move on?
Yeah, people bring up Missouri, people bring up the Michigan game, people bring up the Indiana game and be like, hey, you guys said the same things for that. Okay, that's 3 times, right? You want me to list off the 20 times, the back-to-back Texas games where everybody thought Texas was winning, the Washington game this year. People forget how many times people act like, hey, we're about to lose. And we are like the podcast, the Ohio State guys that know, along with some other ones as well, saying no, right? These guys are just talking out of their rear ends. And the only thing those people can bring up when we talk is, well, you guys said we beat Missouri by this. You said we beat Indiana by this. Okay, what about the 25 other times where the national media was pushing Oregon's going to beat us in the Rose Bowl, Texas is beating us in the Cotton Bowl, Tennessee's going to come into the shoe and take it over, Penn State playing at Penn State's going to be real tough. Don't think Ryan Day can get over the Michigan hump this year. Like the list goes on and on and on and on of right where we go against some national media guys and end up being correct when there's only 3 times you can point to in the last 5 years going the opposite way of that. So a little bit off topic there.
Well, let me just, I just say the Missouri game. Yeah, if you tell me before the Missouri game that Devin Brown is going to go down the second series and we're going to have to play
Exactly.
the third string quarterback,
Come
yeah,
on.
I'm betting everything. And that game, we're still leading into the fourth quarter
I know.
in that game
No.
with Lincoln Keenel as the quarterback. But I mean, like, don't sit there and tell me about, I knew Devin Brown was going to go down and we'd have to play Lincoln. Oh, well, then, hey, yeah, sometimes circumstances change and sometimes stuff happens. But yes, the starting quarterback going down and having to go to the third string quarterback who hasn't played a snap all year, yeah, that's a something. So if you want to yell at me for that, yes, you can yell at Nevada. Nevada got it wrong.
Yeah, that's just silly. There have been
It
some
is.
silly takes on the Missouri game, man. Like, it's just our defense started off phenomenal in that game. And yeah, Lincoln Keyholes arrived in the summer. And I keep Dev Brown. I'm used to talking to you, Dev. Devin
They're lucky I wasn't there.
Brown.
Telling you.
Devin Brown had not started a game. He had to get all the first team reps. And so we put all the eggs in his basket after Kyle McCord banged out when Ryan Day said, "No, I'm not going to make promises, buddy. Peace." And he goes down. Yeah, it's a wrap after that. It's all bets are off. So I don't understand that take, but whatever. All right, let me see what we got next. Ernie again. Thanks for the 199. 30-70, Dev, Leonard D. Yeah. Defense. I mean, listen. Again, I know our defense is not the question. It was not the question against Indiana. It's not really a question now, but I really feel like I guess what I'm saying, and I brought this up a couple pods ago, fellas. The defense is not being brought up because that's not the reason we lost, but don't sleep on the impact of our defense. Like I really think our defense is going to remind people of how dominant they are. Even though it wasn't their fault we lost, it's still one of them things is like turnovers, pressure, just plays being made. I'm excited to see what Patricia rolls out against this playoff field. Nevada, what you got?
Well, yeah, the one thing as great as the defense has been, we haven't been particularly prolific in terms of forcing turnovers, and turnovers are stuff that can swing games. So I think we'll be a little bit more active in that area throughout the playoff, but specifically in this game against Miami. But yeah, I think our great defense we've been playing it for so long. It's now 3 years in a row we're the number one defense in the country. It's it almost becomes a given. You just expect us to play great defense out there, and the offense kind of comes and goes or has fits and starts. But no, I think the defense is going to carry us, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think the offense just needs to do enough. Just don't make big mistakes. Don't put the defense in bad spots. And I say the same thing for special teams. Special teams, just do your job. Just don't get a punt blocked. Which has been something that I've been worried about with our thing. Don't let get lazy and kick off coverage. Don't miss field goals. If we do those things, I think we're going to be just fine. I think our defense is good enough to carry us to the title, and I think that's really going to be when we're hoisting the trophy back to back. I think the primary reason is going to be because of the defense.
Dev,
I think if this offense scores at least 24 points in every game in these playoffs, we go back to back and win a national title. And I was awful close to saying 21 points. I want to know your guys' number. What does this offense need to score the remainder of these games for us to go back to back, you think, in each game?
No, I agree. I think you're fine with 21. 21 points is plenty. I'm looking at the field here. Georgia's offense doesn't scare me as far as prolific against our defense. Who else is in our path? Then coming on the other side, either be Texas Tech, Oregon, Bama, who can't run the ball. Yeah, I'm going to go with 21 points. I think you're safe with 21 points because remember, no team, even Indiana, who had a top 5 offense, has not cracked 17 points. 16 was the most, so that was Illinois on the road. And that was really late in the game. And, they were still throwing the ball.
Oh, yeah.
So 21, I think we're safe, nice and cozy and safe in our little blankies of winning back-to-back. Nevada, what you think?
I'm going to go like the Price is Right. I'm going to go 20 and a half. I'm going to go 20.5 points.
Okay.
If we go 20.5 points, I think we'll anything over 20.5, and I think we're going to be just fine. I agree. I think defense, they're going to have a hard time scoring on this defense. We just don't give up a lot of easy scores, and I think for somebody to get over that, it's going to have to just score on special teams or something weird like that.
Agreed.
So I wrote that down. I said 24. B said 21. Nevada said 20.5. I wrote that down. So I'll announce the winner at the end.
Thank you.
I love the Price is Right reference. I just pictured Nevada just celebrating, run up there going undercutting my 21 with his underbidding.
I mean, 501, Bob.
Up there with Bob Barker. That is hilarious. All right, real quick before we get to the next super chat. Shout out to this cat, Antonio Mills. I saw you in the chat. Says my cousin is Johnny Dixon. We both played at Dwyer High School in Palm Beach County, Florida. We hate the Canes. OH, y'all. I pointed this out because, listen, I had the pleasure of meeting Johnny a few times. I met him through a good friend of mine, Deontay Marshall. His wife, Viviana Dixon, great people. Her and Deontay is who I went to the Penn State game with in 2017. I told y'all my favorite game before the Tennessee game, the comeback game. Great people. Johnny Dixon and his wife are just great people, like super just cool people, man. So I just wanted to show them love because they made a real impact on me, just kicking it with them and just conversating with them. Super mature. Johnny Dixon, I think he's a very underrated receiver out of Ohio State. He made a lot of plays here, and it's just funny to hear him say, more confirmation. We've all heard of Dwyer. I didn't know they just hated Miami like that. It's just crazy. I guess Miami, y'all the redheaded stepchild of Florida football, I guess. You got anything on that before we move on, Dev?
No, yeah, just more things to speak to. There's more Ohio State fans in Florida than there are Miami fans.
That's crazy. Anything, Nevada?
Yeah, that 2017 Penn State, Johnny made some catches in that game. He made some. I remember that.
2 touchdowns.
And I'll also say that had he not been injured, I think he would have been one of the great ones at Ohio State. I mean, I remember seeing video of him before the injury, just turning guys around.
Yeah, and
he was never quite the same player after the injury, but that day he was, man. He was special that day, and that one's firmly maybe top 5 game ever at the stadium, and that was fun to be part of.
Yep, agreed. Great dude. Go ahead.
He's 12th all-time in school history, 67 receptions, 1,146 yards,
nice,
17.1 yards per catch.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but yeah, exactly.
I didn't either.
He would be much higher on that board without the injury. So shout out to the Dixon family. Much love to y'all. All right, so let's get to the next super chat. Mike Green, what's up? Thanks for the 199. No worries, Unc. Day will throw to open up the run. And he got the laughing emoji. Yeah, Day's about to go crazy. For you Day doubters, you're about to have egg on your face again. You're about to look silly again because he's about to open it up. Y'all just forget about games like Georgia and other games like that, even regular season games where he's opened it up. And so we're gonna see it. What you got, Dev?
Throw to open up the run. That's all I have to say. Throw to open up the run. This whole you got to be able to run the ball thing, hopefully the Indiana game completely killed that in Ryan Day's head.
Yep. Nevada?
Man, I would just keep throwing until they stop it. There's no reason. I would just throw. I think the strength of his team is throwing the football. And I think that's, if you want to go shock and all, take them out of the game quickly, you're going to do that through the air. So I hope we go to the air early and often. And I don't care when we go to the run. If we go to the run, I think the strength of this team is throwing the football, and we should do that, liberally throughout the playoff.
Yep, absolutely. And if you watch the tape, that's what the teams that beat them did. All right. My uncle, Buddha King Kush. Thanks for being a Scoop Archer member. Thanks for the 499. I think it's a typo. He meant Tyler Bowen. I think Bowen will have the offensive line ready for this championship run. I agree. This offensive line with Van Sickle being injected, number one, and then also just coaching and watching film and technique, and not just that, but scheme is going to help this offensive line look much, much better. It's amazing what not being predictable and a scheme change to cater to your offense is going to improve the offensive line. What you got, Nevada?
Well, yeah. So Tigra's out for the Cotton Bowl. Who knew? Who could have seen that coming? That Tigra's out for the. Wow, somebody's trying to dunk on me about that, but I digress. Yeah, I'm excited about seeing Van Sickle in there at right guard. I love the fact that the offensive line has gotten so much disrespect for the Joe Moore Award, disrespect, in terms of look, Carson Hinsman did not make first team, second team, or third team all Big Ten, but he got first team All American from the coaches. So it's like, I mean, it's that kind of stuff that I think fires these guys up, and I'm excited to see it. I really, I think Bowen will have them going, and but the biggest thing is scheme. It's always scheme. Scheme can make an offensive line look good. Scheme can make an offensive line look bad. It's about us. It's about Ryan Day. Keep these guys, keep the defense guessing, and our offensive line's going to cook. And I'll always believe that's the case.
The scheme. Dev, what you got?
Scheme.
Dude, the people that saw Tegra in the practice videos and tried to dunk on Nevada and Scoop are the same people that buy beachfront property in the state of Ohio. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, that's just, yeah, Tegra is out. I know Nevada digressed, but I couldn't digress. I'm not going to either. That's just, you're just blooming idiots. But what were we talking about again? Oh, yeah, this is the test for Bowen, right? Fry got tested last year, right? Proved a lot of people wrong, right? I hope that he will, but the truth is, and nobody knows the type of offensive line coach that he is yet. We're about to find out, right? We don't really have anything to gauge on. He hasn't been in this situation before. Indiana game, not so good. The decision to keep Tegra in so long. I think he's kind of, at least for me, I don't know about you guys, on the recruiting front, he's got an A++ for me on the developmental offensive line coach side. I'm median right now. I don't know. I got to wait and see what he does. The keeping Tegra in as long as he did, my red flag isn't all the way up, but there's one creeping up like, what's this about? But he's smarter than I am, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just quickly say with Tegra, man, the biggest frustration with him is he's so inconsistent. He's played well at times. He played down a stretch last year in the playoffs. He played well against Michigan. I mean, he's just all over the place, man. So it is what it is. All right, Susan Buckeye, thanks for the 5. Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. B, Dev, Nevada, I hope you have a great time here in Arlington, Texas. My home. OH, fellas.
I-O.
So I will not be there in flesh. I will be there in spirit. But yes, Nevada and Dev will be there. One day I'm looking forward to visiting Texas. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for this game. But fellas, what's your response to Susan?
So
yeah, it works. I'm excited. I get to go to a game with Dev. I've only walked into a game with Dev, which was kind of a intimidating experience because all the people are screaming, "I'm Dev," and we're kind of walking through. So a little insecure, kind of going there. But I get to sit with him at the game. So yeah, the great state of Texas, Jerry World, great stadium. But being there with Dev, that's cherry on the cake. And someday we'll drag B Moses out of his house. B-Moses will drag him kicking and screaming to go to a bowl game or something like that. But just not Wednesday, but it'll be Dev and I hold it down.
Yeah, Devin was getting mobbed in Wisconsin, man. They had people coming up to him like, "You're the guy from Buckeye Scoop." I was like,
"You too, though."
No, that was like, "I'm the tall black guy. Remember me?" They was like, "Oh yeah."
the tall
I was like, "Oh yeah, that is you." But Dev, take a picture of me, Dev. I'm just like,
oh my gosh,
man. No, I'm joking. But no, he was recognized in Wisconsin. It was dope.
That was pretty cool. I just hope now that people know how far I can hit a golf ball, I'm not signing golf balls. I'm not signing golf gloves, drivers. Don't bring them to the game. I'm just not going to sign them. I can't let that get started. This is Ohio State Football Channel. But I gotta give you guys a little update. There is no parents tailgate this year, man. The Jacksons from Texas set it up last year. Their son's obviously in the NFL now. So as of now, there is not one. But I'll be at that Texas Live thing where Shaq's gonna be the DJ again. I'm gonna be in there. I got a ticket to that for 11 a.m. So I'll still be doing a live show from in there, walking around the stadium just to give you guys the experience and whatnot. So I'll still go live at least one time to give you guys a vibe of the atmosphere.
No, that's good. I'm looking forward to it, man. For sure. All right. Mike Green, thanks for the 189. Say whatever about Ryan, but he win these type of games. Yep, he does. He does. I refuse to believe Ryan Day is going to show up without something in his bag and motivated and on fire with this play calling. And so, yeah, knowing Jeremiah Smith wants the ball, I can't. In a fast dome in Texas, we were just here last year. Yeah, I'm on it. Dad, what you got?
Yeah, if we go out running 13, 14 personnel, I'm going to be very, very upset. If we go out throwing it down the field, opening it up, and we just get beat like that Georgia game, right? Ryan Day shows up like he does in that Georgia game, which was giving it our all, and one bad call, we know what happened in that game. But yeah, Ryan Day shows up in these times and kind of, gets rid of those things we watched all regular season that just aggravated everybody. But yeah, when it's do or die like this, and Big Ten championship was not do or die. It just wasn't. But it is now. So
Dev, people have such a hard time hearing that.
I know they do.
It's just true. It's true. It doesn't mean we don't want to win Big Ten championships. But out of the 3 goals, it's the third. It just is, y'all. Like, can we stop pretending this is not your grandpa's Big Ten? This is not your grandpa's college football. Do I want to win Big Ten titles every year? Yes. But guess what? Natty's is number 1 over everything. Then beating the team up north is over Big Ten titles to me, especially in this year's in today's model. It just is. Be mad with me all you want, but whatever. Nevada, what you got?
Oh, yeah, no. First of all, Ryan Day does win these he wins all types of games. Games against overmatched opponents, game against similar. He wins everything. He wins 95% of his games. So I certainly wouldn't bet against them. And look, we always talk about the 2017 Penn State Ohio State game. What a great game it was. But then you forget the next week we went and laid an egg at Iowa and lost that game. Well, it's kind of like this year. That Michigan game this year took something out of it. That was a release of 4 years of frustration. Yep. You win that game. It's hard to come back, and Ryan knows that. It's hard to whip the guys back, bring them back at a high level 1 week later in a game that meant everything to Indiana. It was a home game for them, and for us didn't mean all that. But he just really couldn't whip the guys into that kind of a frenzy. And Brian Hartline was calling the play. So we've had a number of different things change. We're 100% healthy. We're emotionally at a great spot right now. We can play the disrespect card. We can play the coming off a loss card. And, you've got Ryan Day calling the plays. I like that. That couldn't be more different than the situation we were 1 week after winning up at Ann Arbor. Very different situations. And I think that's why we're going to play much, much better this time around.
Yep. Good stuff, man. Well said. Christenberry? I always messed it up. Tell me in the chat how you say that so I can know how to say it right. I think I'm saying it right. Thanks for the 199. The D will come up big, not worried. Yep. Defense is going to show up. I'm not worried at all either. I was never worried about the defense, but I just think the defense is going to play even better. I think they're just motivated because they're a great defense and they have a great leader and they have great players. But I like the psychological factor of them taking that L against Indiana. They took responsibility for it, even though it wasn't their fault. And I love that. That's great coaching and great leadership. What you got, Dev?
But Matt Patricia doesn't have experience in big-time college games, though. And what are we going to do? You know what I mean? Yes, I got confidence. Ryan Day calling the plays, Matt Patricia on the defensive side of the ball with 3 weeks to prepare. Yeah, I feel pretty healthy. And Caleb Downs does as well. Saw a little interesting thing about him the other day. He's going to be very, 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 very impactful in this game.
Oh yeah, what you got, Nevada?
Yeah, no, I think
Muted?
no, my fingers I have these big fat fingers and I'm trying to jam at the button on the mute button and I can't. I just like knocking the thing off. But anyway, no, I think the defense has been great all year. And as you said, Patricia, this is a guy who's schemed against Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning and stuff like that. Then he's going up against Carson Beck with 3 weeks to prepare. I think Ohio State's going to be I hate to use words like schematic advantage and things like that, but we're going to have a decided schematic advantage with him defensively against Miami's offense for sure.
Yep, we are. All right. Toledo Gio with another great quote. Thanks for the 2. Now you're going to get it, Bobby. This is from Happy Gilmore, which is Dev's nickname, Happy Devin Gilmore, since he likes to talk about golf all the time. Happy Gilmore, a classic movie. The scene where Happy Gilmore is fighting and gets bested by 80-year-old Bob Barker is hilarious. It will never not be funny, but that is from that. Nevada, what you got on that quote?
Well, in first of all, in that scene, they were supposed to use like a stunt double for Bob Barker, and he insisted upon doing the scene without the stunt double. So that's actually Bob Barker and him rolling around out there doing, yeah. One of the classic scenes in all those things. Yeah, that's great stuff. I love that movie. I love that movie so much. I have not watched Happy Gilmore 2 because I don't want to ruin Happy Gilmore for me because
It won't ruin it.
You don't think it'll ruin it?
No,
Okay.
it's well, I know you don't like when they like do an ode to the former movie. He does that.
Yeah.
He does do that. But I don't think it'll ruin it. Go ahead, Dev.
I got to disagree with B. Don't watch it, Nevada. I got to disagree.
Well, B thinks we'll lose 90% of the time to Miami too. So like,
that's true. How does he say
I don't
Miami
know,
would win 6 or 7 out of 10?
80% of the time.
All right, I'm done. I'm done here. You pissed me off.
There he goes.
Oh no.
Hey, Nevada, I'm gonna be honest. When you started talking about stunt devils, I thought for sure you were about to say, "Did you guys know they used Devin as Happy stunt devil in that on hitting those drives?" I thought for sure.
No, I can see you use like the stunt double for like the caddy. Remember the homeless guy caddy or something like that. You look kind of like that guy or something like that.
Are you kidding me?
Or any Amish person, they ever need in any movie, I can see Devin.
It's the beard. It's the beard.
Yeah, it's definitely the beard.
So today I golfed in a tournament this morning. By the way, on the 18th hole, I gave my buddy the phone and I said, "Hey, I need you to video this for my dudes. I got to show them." I proceeded to hit the ball 345 yards.
Wow.
He hands me the phone back and he took a picture of me swinging. I was what is that gonna do? You know what I mean? What's that?
Was he like an old guy or something?
Yeah, he's older. Yeah. About 55, 60.
That old. Wow. I can't believe he's still he's that old. He's still around and walking up and so wow. That's amazing.
You set me up, B. You set me up for that one.
Yeah, I certainly did.
No.
Ouch.
You're an old guy.
The insults keep coming.
I'm just telling you what, man. Yeah.
All right, man. Let me see. Okay. That's a repeat from Chryson. Okay. Boom. Stilly Matt, the famous Stilly Matt. Thanks for the 199. Great show, B, Nevada, and Dev. Got the little fist and the Go Buckeyes. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you, all you do as a moderator and just being a good dude. I met Stilly Matt last year at I did a remote show with Jalen Marshall and Deontay, and we did a little show at a bar called Classics Sports Bar in Columbus. And he was there, man. Great dude. It was really good to meet Stilly Matt. Have y'all met Stilly Matt in person, Dev?
No, I mean, I want to. He's got an open invitation. Steely is the GOAT and the legend of all wrenches everywhere. I mean, you want to talk about manning the chat. I mean, you want to start a YouTube channel and get a bunch of people in your chat. Steely's the dude, man. I remember when I first started, I text Steely like, "Hey, dude, I'm going live for the first time." 50 people show up. It's like, I got him, Devin. So, shout out Steely, bro. He's a pretty awesome guy.
Amen. Nevada?
I have not met Steve. I feel like I know him, but I have not met him. Heck, I haven't met Deontay Marshall yet, and Deontay is the guy that introduced us. So like all these years, he's one of my text buddies. Like we probably go back texting 10 years, have never met each other.
Yeah, we got to make that happen. We got
I'm just
that.
telling you,
That's
so
crazy.
weird.
I thought y'all met in person.
Never
before.
met. Never met. Not one time.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, we definitely got to make that happen. All right, I'm gonna hit you up, Deontay, if you're listening. We're gonna make that happen. All right, what we got next here? EM for Steam. Thanks for the 5. 1935 SMU defense was last defense to hold teams to under 17 points. That's 90 years ago. Buckeyes historic. That's crazy. If we can pull that off in this playoffs, first of all, we win. I think so, but that's crazy. What you got on that, Dev?
Yeah, I mean, it goes along. I just found out today that this year they set a program record for 10 consecutive games holding them under 100 rushing yards. I feel like that's a pretty huge deal considering the defenses that came through this program. I mean, so let's everybody tweet that out. I haven't seen that anywhere. At least Google told me that's the truth. So it is, actually. I went through every game, all the stats, 10 consecutive games under 100 rushing yards, Ohio State program record. This defense is, and to think that this is a new defensive coordinator. We had the number 1 defense last year, and all offseason we're like, man, how do you get better? What are the odds that our defense would be better this year than it is last year? And it is, and it's how arguable is that, guys? Do you think it's like by a wide margin? Do you think it's pretty clear cut? Or do you think, no, you'd have to dive in and argue that this year was better than last year? I think this year's defense I think it's pretty clear cut better than last year's.
I'll say thus far it is, but I want to see them finish.
Good point.
I want to see them finish in the playoffs. If they can finish, then you got it. But thus far, yes. But that defense last year stepped up and made plays when they needed to. Nevada?
Well, yeah, I mean, last year's defense averaged 12.9 points a game. This year's defense is averaging 8.2 points per game, which let's put it this way. If we finish the season without averaging double, if we're under 10 points a game for the season, this would put them up there in the annals of the greatest defense, certainly in school history, one of the greatest defenses in college football history. So, but we're averaging, as of right now, we're averaging 8.2 points per game, which is absolutely impossibly good. So I think teams are gonna really struggle to score. But if they play at that level, they're definitely on the pantheon of grades.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Real quick, this was funny. Stilly Matt called you Shooter McDevin. I think that's a good one. I really like that one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That dude was an a-hole though, man.
He was, but he was a great character.
I like Shooter. I was a fan of Shooter. Bang. I do that all the time when I make my butt. Bang.
Yes.
Bang. Yeah.
I mean, he was funny in that movie. Shooter was. He was great. And so, yeah, I like it. And I like the chat. Love y'all going hard. Y'all be going. I try to keep up with everything. It's so many comments, but y'all are having a great time in the chat per usual. And so this show is great because of y'all, and we appreciate y'all. But that's it for the super chats. We are inching closer, y'all. I cannot freaking wait. What, tomorrow's Monday? Oh yeah. We're gonna blink and it's gonna be New Year's Eve. I cannot wait to see this team match up against Miami. We got more to talk about. Obviously, but any last words before we hop off? Start with you, Nevada.
Another super chat.
This came through.
Excited. We'll have our. Oh,
go ahead, Nevada.
Oh wow,
you're good. We'll circle back to it.
I was going to say we'll have our game predictions. I'll have our score predictions here in the next 24 hours right before the game.
Yeah.
But let's just say that I'm very confident about Ohio State, and the more I hear, the more confident I get.
Yep, same. And we'll slide the super chat in from Ernie Gonzalez. Thanks for the 199. Did you hear Bama wants to drop our home series? Yep, I heard your boy Mark Ingram talking about it. And so, I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother topic and show. I mean, I'm not surprised by it. I can see this happening more and more with this new playoff field and all the, it's just what it is. It sucks. We've never been Ohio State, and shout out to the college football nerds. They're SEC guys. And months ago, Dev, you probably saw this on Twitter. They put out a list. They showed the schedules, the non-conference schedules over the years that Ohio State had, showing that, giving respect to Ohio State, they actually dial up good teams and play home and home series with good teams like Texas, USC, Miami, Bama. I mean, all of that. Georgia, that got canceled. And so, because people like to try to say we don't play nobody and we're scared to play and all this other garbage. It's just false. So I'm not surprised by this. What you got on this, Devin?
How long before it comes out that Ohio State is the one that wanted to drop the series?
Next week.
I mean, yeah, let it be known. Bama wanted this.
Right. Exactly. You got anything on that, Nevada?
Well, we should. These games are stupid. They're absolutely stupid. They serve no purpose. They served a purpose in the limited team, in the 0-team college football playoff era, the 4-team playoff era, the 2-team playoff era, but in the 12-team era, it's all about getting into the playoff and limiting the number of losses, and playing these big out-of-conference games does you no good. It's too risky. I would cancel every single one of them.
Dang, I wouldn't. We're about to have a 16-team playoff. We can lose 3 games. We're in it every year.
There's no benefit, man. There's just absolutely no benefit to doing it.
Makes you better.
Which is why I said I'm not surprised by it. But
yeah,
my bigger point that I'm irritated with is that we're not the ones usually canceling this. Like, we haven't been afraid to dial up these games over the years, and it's just been this narrative. And it's just dumb. So anyway, before the super chat came in, Dev, I was asking for your last words on the pod before we hop off.
No, I mean, great show, great chat. I love it when you guys are engaged in the show like you've been all night. You guys are amazing. There's no show without you guys. So love the show. Almost 2 hours long. I feel like we could go for another hour, but that's just me. Yeah, I'm stoked for the game, stoked to be there. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe button, all that good stuff. Hit the alert bell, too, because I will be going live from the Buckeye Boys and the Scoop channel there to give you guys, an experience. I will be interviewing Miami fans as well as Ohio State fans, as long as the internet holds up. So you guys are great, man. Appreciate the support. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just going to keep on saying that I'm excited. Really, really appreciate the fact that we have Buckeye football. All of you guys, do not take for granted Buckeye football and big games like this. And do not sleep on this team, y'all. Don't sleep on Ryan Day. I think we're in for a treat on Wednesday night. It's not about Miami. It's about us. And I believe we're going to step up and handle business. But listen, until next time, Buckeye Scoop family, Buckeye Nation, we love you. Appreciate y'all. Peace.